Hey guys, with this video I'm actually going to try something a bit different, and that's a review of a Super Nintendo game with recorded footage from an emulator, and that game is the 7th Saga for the Super Nintendo. It was a pain in the ass actually trying to find an emulator and trying to figure out a way to record footage, because I use an iMac and they're really bad for emulators. Anything gaming related I find the Macs are just really bad for. So I had a lot of trouble actually finding an emulator. I did eventually find one that worked, and that could record actually to QuickTime, which was really cool. So this is a test video for me. So if you have any like criticisms or helpful advice, definitely share them. The game itself, before I get into the gameplay of it, the footage of it, 7th Saga is a game I played when I was a kid. I was very young. It was one of the first Super Nintendo games I played and one of the first RPGs I played. I rented it. I got decent ways into it, despite the game being very difficult. And I immediately, when I was a kid, was taken aback by the game due to its awesome music and really fun gameplay, and a few unique things I'll go into in the actual review. But yeah, just a nostalgic game from my childhood, and still one of my favorite RPGs to this day. And with that said, I'll get into the review. Hey guys, this video is going to be a review, actually, of a game for the Super Nintendo called the 7th Saga. And this is it right here, basically the intro. Immediately right off the bat, I love the music in this game. Just really, I love this intro theme. It's so nostalgic to me, because this is a game I played when I was a kid. It's developed by Enix, which, I mean, they made some amazing games back in the day on the Super Nintendo, before they merged with Squaresoft. This game is basically, I'll get into the gameplay later when I start playing the game for you here, but it is a typical JRPG. I'm reviewing it because not too many people I feel know about this game. If there is something that's known about the game, it's the difficulty. This game's known to be one of the hardest, if not the hardest, RPG out there. I don't necessarily agree with that. I have beaten this game, actually. Not when I was a kid when I first played it, but a couple of years ago I sat down and actually was able to finish it. But it is definitely a challenging game and one of the harder games that I've beaten, but I think I've even played some RPGs harder than it. But I'll show you when I start playing it what makes this game actually so difficult. It's basically going through the story here. I'm probably going to skip through this just to show you the meat of the game, which is definitely the gameplay. That's why this game is so great and why I love it so much. The storyline's kind of bland and not really all that interesting. Well, I'll get into it here. We'll begin here, I guess, on a new file. Free space. Okay, right off the bat, this is one of the things I love about this game. You can pick from 7 characters right off the bat, each with their own different stats. They'll gain different moves throughout the game, and each character plays entirely different from the other. So immediately that makes this game have tons of replay value. Once you've beaten it, you can always go back and choose a different character. For this playthrough, what am I gonna go with? Let's go with the Tetsujin, which, he's a robot, obviously, which is cool. Go with my name here. Yep. Start the game off here. So immediately, right off the bat, the visuals, this is one of the earlier Super Nintendo games. I believe it was released in 1992, so visually it's not that crazy, but it's not distracting or, annoying or anything like that. But one of the things I also love, as you'll see here, like right off the bat, you go through a few dialogue exchanges and you're immediately playing the game. There's no long overdrawn intro. They just throw you right in the middle of the game, right at the beginning of the game, and let you have fun right away, which I like quite a bit. So immediately we get started. It's one of those games where you gotta press A button and kind of, you have this menu that you can bring up at any time, talk to people, magic items, you got your status, your equipment, stats. It's your basic RPG. If you want to talk to someone, you just talk to them here. So obviously all your characters are trying to find the ruins. And that's one of the other interesting things about this game. These characters, all these characters that you could have chosen from the beginning can, they go for the runes, and some of them can actually join your party. You can actually, they'll randomly appear in different villages throughout the game, and they'll ask you to join them so you can get the runes together. Sometimes they'll ask you to even fight them, so they play out like optional boss battles, which is really cool. I love that. You can get 2 people in your party in this game. I would like to show you that, but it does take a while to reach an area where you can actually do that. Find them in the villages. That's actually one of the hardest parts of the game, actually. The partners that you find actually level up with you. So every time you fight them, it's always a really tough fight. Almost unfair even, and that's and there'll be story events throughout the game where you do actually have to fight different characters, and I don't know if it's random. It seems like it's random to me what characters show up in different places, because that's another thing why I love this game. Each time you play this game, it will be different than your last playthrough because of where characters are and who you decide to take on your team, which I think that's so cool. But I'll get out of this beginning place here and actually, show you the gameplay of the game. So typical JRPG stuff. You got, your weapon shop here. Your weapons. The inventory system is good. Nothing too crazy, but nothing too simple either. Okay, so here's the world map here. Okay, I already got into a battle. So I'll show you the battle system here. It's typical turn-based stuff, but of course, badass music right off the bat. I love the battle theme in this game. It's just really awesome. Yeah, your basic, attack, defend, magic. Now the robot's quite a strong character in the beginning. He's a good character for beginners, I'd say. He's got some really powerful attacks later on, and he starts off at quite an advantage compared to some of the other characters. I'll just pause it here so you can go through the menu on the world map. But you can see in the top left there is kind of a radar system, and it was definitely unique for the time because a lot of RPGs at the time this came out still had random encounters. But this game, it has a mix of random encounters and not, because those white dots you see on the radar are enemies, and sometimes you just can't avoid them. You're going to have to run into them, but you have a bit of leeway in terms of what you can avoid. Obviously, right off the bat, I'm kind of running into some trouble here. Finding it hard to run away from enemies. Took him down. Just gain experience. A pretty simplistic battle system, but I don't know, the animations and just the way and how challenging the game is makes it quite fun. The world map is nothing crazy to look at either. At the beginning of the game, the environment variety is not too high, but later in the game, you start to see some really cool areas. See, there's another dot on the radar. You see there, that's another town. Towns are always those bigger dots. Key locations on the map are marked differently than enemies, of course, which is good. But the radar system is definitely something unique that I really enjoy about this game. Okay, I'm starting to lose health here. So it may not seem too difficult right off the bat, but if I don't get back to a town at this point, because leveling up is not going to heal my health to full or anything like that, I will die eventually if I don't get to a town quick enough. Let's hope I don't run it. Oh no, shit. Sometimes the encounters, yeah, in a situation like this, sometimes you can... I've actually encountered my first battle in this game right off the bat was 3 of these bird guys, which, again, look, I missed right there. And these bird guys are actually quite hard for beginning enemies. See, I don't have magic. That's MP. Oops. Oh. And just like that, a game over already. And once you die, when you do die in this game, you lose half of your gold. You're thrown back to the nearest inn, and you lose half of your gold, which in the early game, that's not so bad. Later in the game, that's a huge problem. This is one of those games that you'll be reaching for the reset button quite often. You know, definitely quite often. You know, in terms of problems with the game, I'd say, it can be a bit hard to figure out where you're supposed to go at times. I mean, the world map is designed in a way where it's very easy to get lost. The dungeons themselves don't have any puzzles or anything. They're a bit maze-like, which can be a problem considering how difficult the game is. The bosses will just absolutely tear you apart in this game. Like, they are relentless. But definitely, in the early game, it wouldn't help to grind out a bit here. But, you know, as I've said, you know, great music, maybe not the greatest storyline, but definitely still okay. The partner system is what makes the game so unique, though. It's a shame I can't really show you. Well, I guess I could if I got more. Okay, actually, so here's a town right here. I don't think I'm early enough to find someone. Nah, I wouldn't be. You know, the difficulty adds a sense of danger to this game that I don't know, I find so endearing. This game is so, for me, it's hard to put down. I get addicted to this game every time I play it. Even now, I want to kind of get farther into it. So this guy's gonna give me a map. But yeah, basically, one tip for those that do want to actually start playing this game, when you do find partners and they wish to join you, I'd actually suggest not doing that, because this game, it can definitely have its rewards, but in this game, you share experience between the two of you, so if you do eventually get a partner, believe it or not, it makes the game harder that way. So, you know, when I did beat this game, I actually just went through with one character. Oh, and by the way, you'll probably notice the footsteps that this character makes are very annoying. I do think that's a problem. None of the other characters have any kind of sound effect when they walk. Just this character, which, you know, is kind of a, you know, that kind of sucks. Another battle here. Sometimes it can be worth it to just lose the gold, especially if you've gained quite a bit of experience. This is a dungeon here, actually, I think. Yeah. So as you can see, you know, pretty basic dungeon. Actually, I'm going to get out because I really would rather not die here. See this town over here. See how I'm avoiding the enemies. I'm able to avoid the enemies, which is nice. Here's another dungeon. again, like, the direction of the game, as you can see, is not the greatest. You know, it's not giving me a good idea of where I'm supposed to go. Like, there's this place, there's the castle. I haven't played this game in a couple of years, so I'm actually kind of clueless myself on where I'm supposed to be going right now. But, you know, with enough exploration, you'll figure things out. You know, if you talk to people, you'll figure things out. I guess there's really not too much more to say about this game. Just, you know, a really, really fun game. You know, quite lengthy too, as most JRPGs are. And I really don't think it gets the attention it deserves. Not a lot of people have played it, and the people that do play it kind of, I don't know, throw it away saying that it's too difficult, but I don't know, I think there's something to be said about this game. I think it's quite enjoyable to this day. It holds up really well. And, you know, there's a lot of unique things. You know, the radar system and the partner system are definitely really cool. Oh, level 3. I'd been contemplating doing like kind of a let's play of this game, but it's one of those games that's way too difficult, I think, to really go for one. I think I'd end up just being frustrated in the end. Oh, there's a nice critical hit there. As you can see, you know, it doesn't seem too difficult, right? You know, obviously it's one of the leading factors. The robot is a great beginning character. He's quite good for those starting off the game. The soldier is also quite a good beginning character. My favorite character is the wizard. He starts off very weak. In fact, the first time I played this game, I died in the very first battle with him. But he gains some really powerful spells later, and slowly becomes one of the more powerful characters. But again, that's another fun thing about the game, is experimenting with all the different characters. You know, when you do get other characters kind of, you know, getting your weakness. Robot can't actually equip weapons, which is, again, all these characters have these different types of abilities and drawbacks. It's just a really cool system that I really loved about this game. You know, you can also search all around the map, find hidden treasures. Yeah, just overall a really great game. I definitely recommend anyone that's into JRPGs to try it out. And one of the more underrated games on the Super Nintendo. But I think that'll do it.